All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market show. Hope everyone is having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. And let's get started on this day of the second day of trading on this short week, right? We're off. The markets are closed on Friday. So just 3 more days, including today of trading. So hope everyone had a great day yesterday. Again, yesterday we had a great watch list. We'll go through this here. Here was my watch list from yesterday. Actually, I took some off from here. On my final list. I don't recall, but either way, we'll go through these here. These were some possibles as well in this area here, so we'll see how these traded throughout the day yesterday. Quite a light gappers list this morning, and I know one of these I don't like at all. RBZ again. This is a 380,000 shares flow, so that's very low flow. It reminds me of like a BPTH, although BPTH now the flow is a little higher. If you looked at it, it's at 1 million, but again, still. Very risky stuff to trade. So we'll go through these in a second. We got Roku on here, which is nice. This trades very well in some occasions, so it's up quite a bit today. We had some good classes yesterday, class 1 and 2, and then tonight we also got class 3 and 4, and then tomorrow we're also going to have the commissions class. So I know that's a class everybody's looking forward to. That's a new class that we added to our class schedule, so make sure to check that out tomorrow as well at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So let's get started, guys. Let's look at some of the hot stocks from yesterday, the top plays and highlights from yesterday. So we'll start with WFC. This is the one I traded. Also, Andrew traded this one as well yesterday, but it didn't really give a good continuation yesterday. So let's look at the open here. Let me get the 1-minute chart on here as well. If you're joining us for the first time, I see some new names in the chat rooms. On YouTube. Basically what we'll do is we'll go over top highlights and plays for yesterday. Then we'll go over our gappers list, which is here. Try to find stocks in place, some catalysts and levels. And then we'll start with our Nasdaq active, going through here, Nasdaq active, Nasdaq gainers. And then we will look into what both chat rooms have, what you guys see, because sometimes you might find something that we might not see in our scanners that still might be interesting. Good morning, Noam. How are you this morning?
Hey, good morning, Carlos. I'm good. Sorry I'm a few minutes late. How are you doing?
Oh, no worries at all. No worries at all. We're doing good, doing good. It's funny. I was just before logging in here. I was looking at catching up on that news in Paris. Just unfortunate, man. To see the
That's
pictures
terrible,
and the aftermath it's just terrible. So, for anybody in the area, hope you're okay. And I know Andrew was there literally 2 days ago, right?
Yeah,
so
he was
just how
there. He was there
crazy.
over the weekend.
Yep. All right, guys. So let's look at WFC. WFC was on our watch list yesterday, and actually I took it for opening range breakdown with Andrew. Andrew also took it for opening range breakdown. We did get a small drop. Whoops, let me get this smaller. We did get a small drop here. I'm sorry, right in this area on the 5. Right, we did get a small drop, but then it just bounced right back. So we took some off, getting close to these levels, and then it just bounced back and actually became a good long. I should have flipped my position. This became a beautiful long. Squeezed up all the way past the moving average, past the VWAP, and then right into the higher day, it just kept going. Never looked back. Actually gave you a nice pullback here. This is a great pullback for a possible entry. Goes to the moving average, does not break the moving average. Just look at the 1 minute as well. You got a beautiful drop over here, pull back to these moving averages, and then it takes off again for a nice run. So a beautiful trade here if he was able to catch that. Very crazy at the open. This is why sometimes waiting that 5 minutes is so important. Look at this wick here, right? This wick is just insane. If you're looking at this one at the open, you're possibly thinking that it's just going to keep going, right? It's very strong. And then you get this huge drop, just in a massive drop here. Look at the volume. This was something you want to be careful with. That's why we recommend everyone, please wait those 5 minutes. Yes, in some cases, things is going to run, right? This could keep running and just keep going to the moon. But sometimes when you get caught in such a violent drop like this, right? We're going from 46.50 down 50 cents in a matter of seconds, right? Even more. So you just want to be very careful when trading in that first 5 minutes. Yeah, Tommy, if the only way to trade this that's a good point, is to scalp it, right? There's nothing wrong with scalping. It requires really fast reaction. So just be careful. If you're starting out and you don't have that skill developed yet, just avoid it and wait that 5 minutes. It does an amazing job. Also, it builds your patience because you're seeing everything else moving so fast, and you're just kind of like, I'm not going to trade for the first 5 minutes. You're just looking around, seeing where the volume is, what is setting up nicely, and then you build on that that patience and that resistance of FOMO, right? because many times when I was starting out, I would jump in on the first thing moving in one direction, next thing you know, it's going the other way, just for the fear of missing out. Goldman Sachs, I actually did not watch this one. This was one that I dropped. So I don't know how to trade. This will be the first time I'm looking at it now. But yeah, it looked like it was a good opening range breakdown here on the 5. Huge selling pressure here. It drops down nicely and then it bounces back and you get another drop again. But I did not watch this one, simply the fact because it's just too high price for me. So I like to stay within that $20, $100 range. In some cases, like an Nvidia or a Facebook, they trade well. Apple, I'll watch those. But this is a pretty high price. We also had APHA. This one I watched. Again, just a weird candle at the open. Look at the 1 minute chart, right? You have this huge indecision candle here. Just what we're talking about, that first 5 minutes, right? Huge drop with the volume here, comes back up, and then just hangs around and consolidates. Then it becomes a beautiful trade towards the top. But at first, I didn't like the way this candle formed, so I really was not interested in it. But it did shoot up nicely past the high of the day at that time, the previous candle, and also passing the high of the pre-market as well. CVS was very choppy at the open. As you can see here, just huge green candle, then red candle, green candle, red candle. Once you get this type of trading, you want to avoid it. Yeah, it does trade into a point and then finally takes off. But here it's just very difficult to find out what's the next step, and you can see how choppy this is on the 1 as well, right? Pops up, sells back down, pops up, sells back down, and this could be very difficult to try to catch an opportunity. Eventually it does settle in, so if you were in this area here, actually here Andrew called it out for a possible long. He actually mentioned
he even called it. He called it at the tip of that wedge right there on the 5 minute.
Yeah, he was like, guys, this
and a number of.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say a number of people in the room got it. I don't think he actually even caught it, but he called it.
Yeah, he didn't get on it, but he said this looks like it's about to explode right in this right here. He called him like, oh yeah, it does look like it's about to explode. I didn't get in it neither. A couple of members did, and then seconds later it just takes off nicely. Look at this beautiful pop. So again, if you would have waited that 5 minutes, you would have saw this drop here. This would have prevented you from getting into this trade, just kind of waiting it out to see, okay, who's in control of the price action, right? That's key. You want to know who's in control of the price action, so you could join that team and take a ride along with them. Disney was choppy as well, just popped up nicely here, but it did form a good drop. And again, here doesn't look too clean, but if you look at the 1 minute, look at the 1 minute, how it does this beautiful double top. Now, not as clean, right? Because this one is a little higher than the one before. But when it does this engulfing pattern on the way down, this could have been a great entry. Now, for me personally, I don't look for double tops this early on in the morning. I like to see them like after 10 o'clock, 10:30 or so. So it's a bit early to look for a double top, but it does create a beautiful double top here. Clearly not trying to sell above this level, and then it drops nicely. Even if you miss this one here, right, the minute it starts testing VWAP and it sells this pullback here, you see doesn't want to go high. This could have been a great entry for a false VWAP breakout, and a VWAP breakout, and then just breaks out nicely, hits the low of the day, cracks through it. You can see at the low of the day you have some hesitation, and we did have a level on there at 130.90. Then once it loses that, it just continues to make lower lows, hits this moving average, comes right back, another pullback to the same level, 130, and then drops again. So again, doesn't look too clean on the 5, but if you look on the 1, this traded very, very clean. Then later on in the day, as you can see, that in the afternoon, had a beautiful double bottom again right here. Nice double bottom here. If you was patient waiting for opportunities during this time of the day, clearly nice trend here all the way up, right back to the high of the day. So Disney traded very well, very clean. And AMD actually, I was calling this one out on for a possible open range breakdown, but it dropped too much. This 5 minute took a huge drop. So when this happened, when we had this small pullback, I didn't trust it. I'm like, this is not a big enough pullback for me to get in. And then once it started going up, I just figured that the move was just going to be choppy. But actually, it turned out to be a good short, right? If you held through here, had a good risk to reward, right? Right at the moving average, the VWAP. And if you get in anywhere in here, you had a good risk to reward. If it cracked this moving average, you would have stopped out. But then it drops nicely towards the low of the day. And then you needed some patience, right? You had to hold through this 20 minutes here, and then you would have been rewarded with this beautiful drop here again. So if you had a good entry in this area here, you could have easily survived this because you're taking profits as it hits the levels low of the day here, and then it starts dropping nicely all the way down to 27. So AMD traded nice, but just not as clean right at the open. FSC we had on our list, had a huge volume, not the cleanest pre-market action. At the open, it gave you a nice little pop here. I know some people in the chat room took this trade because I saw you guys calling it out. Again, but just not as clean. You had to scalp this one for sure. You had to get in as close as VWAP as possible, then jump out once you made new highs here, got a couple of cents. But after that, it's just sold off. Really did not do it a falling angel. So we got the question a lot, what is a falling angel? And usually this happens on low flow stocks. And what you're going to see is you have this stock that it's high over here, drops down but wants to come back up, right? That's what a falling angel is. And usually this will happen is in this area here, you would have gotten some consolidation, the volume would have came in, and this would have popped up back to the high of the day. So this one did not do that. It didn't consolidate long enough. It starts losing it, and then as it tries to get back up to VWAP, still can make it, and it drops down even lower. So that was our watch list for yesterday, guys. Again, just some pretty good moves here on WFC. Disney also traded well. CVS, beautiful breakout. So we did have a really good watch list with a lot of moves. And this is what we kind of expect from the earnings season, right? So, Norm, anything you traded that you liked yesterday?
No, I had a not great day, so I wasn't feeling well, so I turned it in a little bit early.
Okay, nice. Yeah, that's the best thing to do when you're not feeling well. I just turn it in. Don't force anything, right? So let's take a look at what we have in our gappers list. So today we have RBZ. RBZ, I'm gonna throw it down here because I know I'm not going to watch it. This one is again, it's a very low flow. Reminds me of a BPTH. If you look at the daily chart, it's had a huge day 2 weeks ago, I believe. Had a huge day last week as well. Again, just look at this thing went from 4. Remember, it was trading at 4. It opened up at around the pre-market around 10 or so, or 6, and then it took off. Opened up on this day around 15, and then it went all the way up to 40. So just incredible the pop that it had here. But again, this reminds me of a BPTH. Is very low flow, 300,000 shares. So any big order here you can get caught in the wrong side of this trade really fast, and this thing can drop on you very aggressively and violently. So right now it has some decent volume, 230,000 shares traded. Not up as much as it was this morning. When it was hitting our scanners here, it was up about 10% plus or so. Now it's only up 3%. So again, just selling off here. I don't think it's really in play. And just too risky to trade. So I'm not going to watch this one personally, but we'll keep it on here for now. Just take a look at it. One stock that's more tradable, Roku. So Roku is up 3.1, 117,000 shares traded. It's building a good, decent pre-market action. Not the greatest from here to here, right? Pretty choppy. But here the volume can come in, it can build a nice flow. This is good. And usually Roku doesn't have a good pre-market action in the morning anyways. It's one of those stocks that it's like a MU that has a horrible pre-market action most days than not, but it can still turn into a good trading stock. So going to remove some levels here, and then let's find some fresh ones. So right now we have automatically popped in for you the low of 2 days ago in here, previous day close right in here. Low of the pre-market is sitting at 57.02. Let's mark that down. Above that, you have the high from yesterday right here. So that's another level also. So above the price action, looks like we're about to crack the high of the pre-market. So I'm not going to mark that right now. But above the price action, you have a possible level right in here from this date, this area here. And then you have a moving average coming in also, right? Going to mark down this moving average. And the reason why I'm marking down these levels so close, because Roku can really move. I mean, it's at 58.41. The next level we have here is 59.14. So that's a big move, and Roku can easily hit that. So 59.12, 59.70 of this moving average. And then above that, you have a clean level from 2 days ago high, right in this area here, 60.75 or so. So I don't think you need to mark anymore, but if you do want to mark some more, you have a clean level in here, 61.96 was resistance here and support in this area. And you also got 2 moving averages coming in here. So that could be a very strong area right in here. You got this daily average, 2 moving averages. It looks like it can about to cross depending on how the day trades. So again, just a very strong area of possible support. Daily chart looks good too, because you have had several red days here. Tested this 56 twice, and now we're getting like a little bounce back here up 3.2 now. So pretty interesting. We'll mark the high of the day, high of the pre-market in a second when we get a bounce. But right now it looks like it wants to just keep going higher. So I'm not going to mark it just yet. All right. The other one on our gappers list is UNH. UNH is up 2.6, 142,000 shares traded. Higher price. This is United Health, right? United Health. Yes, it is.
Yep.
United Health. So I had some really bad days the last couple of days here. So I'm getting a little bounce back now. Is any news on this? I know think you had mentioned something yesterday, right?
They've got earnings coming up this afternoon, is it?
Okay, this afternoon?
This morning, yeah, they already released.
Okay, excellent. All right, so I guess coming up towards the earnings, people were a little concerned, started selling off here for some reason. Maybe not, didn't want to hold. Some people don't like holding their position over through earnings. So that could have been what happened here, or they probably expected bad news. So we're popping up a bit, 2.6 at the moment. Not the cleanest pre-market action. It is a NYSE stock. It is a higher price stock, so the pre-market action can tend to be a little funky. So we can find some levels on this in a second. So we also had RNN here. So RNN was on our gappers list early this morning. We're talking about it in the chat room. I'm not sure why it disappeared from here. It should be here. It's up 61.2. It is on the, oh, you know what? I think the American Exchange on this scanner, because I switched to the pre-market one, it might not be on here. I'll have to add it. But it was on the one that I was sharing earlier with the chat room. So it is an American Exchange stock, but it is looking like it's trading well. It's got a good pre-market action. We usually don't trade the American Exchange. You can tell it's an American Exchange by this little A right here. That's the American Exchange, which actually I was doing some research on this. It looks like they changed the name now. It's New York Stock Exchange American. That's the official name of this one here. So they've been through like 3 or 4 name changes. So the New York Stock Exchange American is what it is. But we'll just call it the American Exchange just to differentiate from the NYSE stock, and then the Q is the Nasdaq. So RNN, again, some good volume. They have some news out about an agreement, one of their drugs, I believe, the pharmaceutical company with China or something like that. So again, just some really good news for them this morning, which is causing them to get this volume. Usually they're pretty flat throughout the day. So you can see here, just huge flat, not really a tradable stock. The ATR on this has to be probably really, really low. I would assume, oh, actually not, 50 cents, so not that bad. I thought it would have been lower based on all these flat days here. But it looks like today they're definitely in play, up 60%, 700,000 shares traded. And you can see here that it's creating a nice little pre-market action. So we'll look at it, and it's not a low flow. It's actually 48 million shares flow. So it is tradable. We can watch and see how this develops, although we usually don't watch American Exchange stocks. Yes, it is on short selling restrictions. So, and I don't have shares for sure. I don't have the .S. But again, here for this type of strong stock, you're really looking for a possible breakout towards the long side. That's the best play here. You don't want to short a strong stock. You want to be very careful with that, because again, it can be a pullback, and then you can get this type of volume here. Look at this volume coming in, and it goes from 7 all the way to 9. So you want to be very careful on shorting these type of stocks, especially at the open or the pre-market, right? You kind of want to wait to see it kind of roll over during the afternoon or so before you take this short. Adrian, we usually don't trade the American Exchange because usually there's not a lot of volume in those stocks. This one is moving pretty good today, but in most cases, if you look at the American Exchange tickers, they don't move as well or as clean as the Nasdaq and New York Stock Exchange do. So that's the only reason for it, right? But this one is moving pretty good today, and it's got some really serious volume here. All right, we have some more coming up into our list here. Let's look at these: JBGS and Bank of America. JBGS, all right, it's down 2%, 159,000 shares traded at the moment. Let's take a look at the daily chart. Daily chart looks good. It's been a nice little uptrend here, and now it's dropping. We must have some kind of news on here, so let me just check if there's any news on JBGS. All right, so we have a public offering of common shares stock at $42. All right, so that's what that is. All right, not sure how this is going to be trading today. It doesn't have a good pre-market action. We'll watch it, but again, just not sure how this is going to possibly trade today. with that. Bank of America is dropping right now. They have earnings. Yep. Okay, so yeah, Bank of America looks good. Nice drop here, down 1.5. So again, it's got some volumes coming in. They just released earnings this morning. Is that what it is? Because it looks like it's just starting to happen. Yep. All right. Excellent. Yeah. So Bank of America is definitely in play today. Bank of America normally does not move much. Their ATR seems just to be very small. But the last couple of days, they got some action going here. All right. So Bank of America, we'll throw that on there. Let's look at our Nasdaq active, Nasdaq gainers, see what we have in here, and then I'll get to your list and see what you have on your end. PRPO, penny stock. We're not focusing on those. CFRX, also a penny stock. We don't look at those. KMDA right at the moment up 8.7, 520,000 shares traded. What is the float on this one? KMDA is at 31 million shares flow, so it's not a low flow. It could be tradable. It's got some action. It's got some really good activity at the moment. Not the cleanest pre-market action, but that can change. So we'll look at this one. This will be KMDA. All right. Next, we have a Nasdaq ETF. AMD in here. AMD looking pretty flat, not really in play today, but more volume yesterday. See, this is a typical AMD, 500,000 shares traded. I think yesterday only had about 120 at this time, so that was really low for this stock. In a funky situation right now. Look at this level. It's sitting at 27, just getting tons of volume just right at this price. So weird what's going on with AMD at the moment. RWLK. RWLK has up 20%, 337,000 shares traded. Looks good right now. What's the float? 2.4 million. So very low float. We'll throw it down here in our riskier pile. Let's look at the daily chart. All right, daily chart. Looks like we're good at selling off, not really selling up. Really choppy daily chart as well. So I see one day here where it actually sells up. The rest is just regular trading activity. When it gaps up, you can see here it's better at selling down than actually selling up. So right now it's got some good volume. It's starting to build a good flow here, but it's gotta get a little cleaner. So we'll keep it on there, see how that develops. And then we have TVIX's volatility index at the moment down. So the SPY, let's see what the SPY is doing. So SPY up this morning. SPY is up almost
up about a third of a point.
%. So not much going on, but still slowly grinding higher and higher, right? It takes like 2 days up and then 1 day back. So 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and it's kind of slowly continues to break these levels. So that's positive. So the SPY is up, and that's why TVIX is down at the moment. The RBZ we have in our list already bouncing back here, but again, not looking great because it's selling off, but it looks like it's finding a level here and trying to get back to VWAP. Next, we have Facebook. Facebook is on here. Facebook's got some volume, somewhat of an interesting chart at the moment. Daily chart is kind of pretty much flat, but Facebook could be interesting. Let's throw Facebook on here. I think that could be something we can look at in a second. RWLK we have. MTFB usually not trading very well. Today's the same thing. No action on there. KMDA we have. This one is not a low flow. It's actually selling off though now. It's got to find a level hopefully of support. RBC we talked about. CRSP not much going on. LOGC nothing happening. ZSAN not much volume right now. Is up 5.7, but only 22,000 shares traded, so that's not enough for us to consider. OMED nothing going on, more of a penny stock. NIU same thing, nothing happening. RCKT same as well, no volume on this one either. All right, guys, so we got quite a bit on here. What else do you guys have on your end? What do you guys like this morning? What are you watching? Let's look at Netflix. Netflix. So Netflix is up 1.6 after having two bit of a rough days on here. Might be ready for a bounce. Look how it hits this level. We talked about this in our class yesterday. It hits this level here and it starts to bounce back. So clearly doesn't want to sell below here. You also had another nice level in this area here, right? It comes right back and closes above this level, and now it's up 1.6. So it has a very interesting daily chart in regards to these two areas here. So earnings after the bell. All right, so yeah, you definitely want to wait until that happens, right? Wait for the earnings. So I'm gonna throw this down here. If they have earnings after the bell, I'm not going to watch it for the open, but I will keep it here on as possible in case it gets into a nice trend trading. CVS was great yesterday. Let's see what CVS is up to now. Doesn't quite have the volume. This is me playing around, putting some stuff for our classes on possible levels. So here CVS at the moment, again, it's just good daily chart, right? It's broke through this serious resistance it has here for the last couple of days. You can see he's banging his head on here. It has a good daily chart, but right now the volume is not there. It could be possible for later on today. Yes, it is. CJ SPY is getting back to the near all-time highs, which makes it interesting. And again, it's crawling its way up there, which is good too, because if it just goes up too high, then you get a serious pullback. It's doing small pullbacks and slowly climbing higher. So it's getting there in a healthy way. That's probably the best way to put it. Disney. Let's look at Disney. Disney's been all over the place. I mean, after this news, let's get rid of. And this is all-time high, I believe, still. Right? Yeah. Course, let me get rid of all these levels, too congested here. So what happens is, I wish I wouldn't have got rid of it, but what happens is when we first had this only this one day here, we started putting levels all around here. But now that we're consolidating around this area, the chart now is giving us several high and lows, because on this day all the high and lows were sitting down here, right? So now with my levels added here plus the high and lows too congested, you might as well remove them. And really for Disney, I don't think there's anything you have to add when it comes to levels, really. Because there's nothing up here. There's no moving averages up here on this area. Everything is down here, and you already have previous day highs and lows all well in this area. I mean, it's a perfect chart. You don't have to really do anything on here. No volume right now. Sorry, not a good pre-market action. It does have volume, 998. Where is it though? It's got to be 998,000 shares traded. I don't see where this volume is. It's got to be some block trades maybe. It looks like it was after hours right in here. So after hours, somebody sending some huge orders, but as this morning does not have the volume. So this morning is probably less than 100,000 just in here, right? So it's not really in play at the moment. Has a good daily chart. I'm going to throw it down here for us to possibly look at later. J&J, all right, J&J. So J&J earnings. Is that what we have on these guys? So Johnson & Johnson, I don't like the way Johnson & Johnson trades. Very choppy daily chart. You can see it on here. I traded before in the past and have not done well on it. Today's gapping up 1.1. Doesn't really have the volume just yet. Now, is there earnings today or did it happen already?
They released this morning.
This morning? All right, so pretty flat still for releasing this morning. We'll throw it down here with the rest of our possible. So Netflix is releasing it at the open.
Yeah,
go ahead.
They had good earnings and guidance, but in the background they still have the talcum powder lawsuit issue.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not gonna go away right away. So, but yeah, I remember that on these days here, right? We traded it quite often.
Yep.
It was just this huge drop there. So not a great pre-market action right now for J&J, although they had earnings. The volume is not there. Now, it is a NYSE stock, so what happens, these stocks, and Norm, you mentioned this before, the volume is not great pre-market, right? It's not like Nasdaq. So we'll see what happens here. What else do we have, guys? What else you guys like this morning?
Check out JMIA. It was an IPO, recent IPO.
Oh yeah.
But it's had a heck of a couple of days.
Yeah, it's actually trending up nicely here. Today's up another 7.8. 204,000 shares traded here. Not the cleanest pre-market action, but it does have some volume here. It's got again for the only charts we have, it's got a good daily chart, right? It's popping up higher here. You got a level here at 40 that it can reach today if it can get going. So interesting. I'm not going to watch it at the open, but it is something we can watch later on today, because if it can continue on this trend here, making higher lows, it could be a nice trade over towards the top. Now, with this type of stocks, guys, again, the levels and the moving averages are not all developed there yet, so you want to be very careful. Take your profits very fast. To be honest, I will be doing more of a scalping strategy on these type of stocks, right? I wouldn't trust it to follow these moving averages and these support levels just yet. Lyft, let's see what Lyft is doing. Wow, Lyft is actually has a good daily chart. I mean, it's just a nice downtrend here, a beautiful support that it found here. Now it's down. It's actually well, it's down for since it opened, but it's up almost 1% today. But it doesn't have much volume though. It really doesn't have much volume. But I do like the daily chart because again, if this can be some support here, it can bounce back from here, or if it can lose, this could be a beautiful short. Now I don't have shorts to on this stock. I'm not sure if anybody else does, being a recent IPO. So again, not sure if it's even playable for the short side. But again, the daily chart looks great. It has a nice flow to it. But I just don't know if it's going to be in play for this morning.
Yeah. IB has shorts.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, so if you could watch it later on in the morning, see how it opens, how the volume is, and also if you're going to trade this, check the spread because the spread could be funky sometimes. I know, Norm, you looked at it before and the spread was as high as 25, right? Yeah, so
yeah,
be very, very careful with that one. All right, folks. I think this is DUS. DUS is a ETF, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this is an ETF. So I don't usually trade this one. Brian is really good. He tracks this stuff. And also talking about Brian, make sure you watch his weekly recaps. Sometimes he does talk about DUS on there, some of the swing trades he's taken. And if you're interested in swing trading, go to the website on the top, click on swing trading, and you can sign up for his alerts of entries and exits and possible watch list of swing trading. So make sure to check that out. So don't really know how to advise you on DUS. Again, I think the most he does is swing trades on it. I don't think he really day trades DUS.
Yeah.
But he can advise you on swing trading and stuff like that. So yeah, just make sure you sign up for that swing trading alert, and I'm sure DUS will come up because he swings this quite often. All right, guys. So anything else in regards to this list we have here? JBHT. All right, JBHT. Oh, it's down quite a bit here. Yeah, down 4.3. Has a good daily chart. Doesn't have the volume quite yet, but it definitely has a daily chart. What's the news, or is it earnings? What company is this? Jumia.
JB Hunt. JB Hunt doesn't have much volume during the day usually. It's not a really heavily traded stock. I've traded it once or twice and I found it kind of difficult because of that.
Okay, gotcha. All right, what is the flow on JMIA? Good question.
It's too new to have it in the feed.
Oh yeah, that's probably what it is. So again, we don't have it on here, but it's not trading like a low flow. I don't think. Yeah, it's not trading like a low flow. It's trading like, it looks like a mid cap the way it's trading. So, all right, folks. Let's get this list a little smaller. Let's see what looks good. So good question here, Julian. Do you always look for 90K of volume or more? Yeah, we try to look over 100,000. So over 100,000 usually is good, but in some cases you have some that are like a NYSE stock, like a MU, which could have less than that. But they could still trade very well, especially NYSE stuff like CVS today. CVS today has only 21,000, but they've been on a roll the last couple of days with some really good trading, really clean trading. Even though it's a NYSE stock, it's been trading very clean. Did the same thing yesterday. But again, if it doesn't have over 100,000, I tend to want to look at the ones that are more active, like a Roku today. This one is really active at the moment, 153. United Health, look at this one, RNN, 1.1 million. So yes, you got some really good volume in here. Bank of America 3.2, that's nice. So the more volume, the better. You gotta be careful though when it has too much volume, right? Yes, there is such a thing as too much volume, because what happens is at the open, that first 5 minutes could be crazy. So you want to make sure that if you see huge volume, you want to wait for it to settle down and let the volume die down a little bit so you can get a good clean read of the price action. Yeah, Bank of America is looking great actually. I mean, look at this pre-market action. Usually does not trade like this. Bank of America doesn't move much, but today is definitely in play. All right, guys, let's start from the top. Let's find some levels in here. So we have Roku. Let's actually no, we just did these levels actually. So we have the bottom right here, low of the pre-market, low of 2 days ago, right in here. Previous day close, low of the pre-market at 57. We have this high from yesterday over here. And then now we made a new pre-market high. So I'm going to mark this one down at 50, 58, 55. So now we'll mark that one down. So you can see we tested it here for a couple of minutes, kind of consolidating sideways now. Then above that, we have 59.14 of this day here. And then we have 59.70 of this moving average. That's what I'm marking down there. And then you have a high from 2 days ago. And then you have this 69.96 tested here as resistance, and then over here as support. And then we mentioned earlier we got two great moving averages moving in here. What's that, a 200 and the 50, I believe, moving in here. If they can cross in this area, that can also be an area of resistance. So Roku looks good, has a good pre-market action, has some good volume right now, 150,000 shares traded. And we know if Roku can get going, it can trade very clean, give you a good opening range breakdown or break up. United Health at the moment, not looking too great. It's a higher price stock. I like the daily chart though. It's up 3.1 after being down. They had earnings, right? Some positive earnings looks like. So let's find some levels for this one here. High of the pre-market at the moment, hitting this moving average very close to 237.93. You also got a moving average in here. That could be an area of resistance. Above this, and look how this 237.93. Also, you have this day here that's been testing as support as well. Above this, you have 3 days on this area, 242.09. You can see these days here testing that area. And you also have a moving average slightly above this coming in as well. Then above that, you have the high of about what, 3-4 days ago right in here, 246.86. So plenty of levels in that area already. And this 246 also acting as a support around these moving averages, and this several days on here, all bouncing from that day into, I guess, the new earnings was coming, or somebody suspected bad news, and then you had this huge drop down here. And then towards the bottom, you can add this one also right in here, 223.85 from this date. And then below that, you got plenty of levels based on previous day close, previous day highs and lows in this area here. So RNN is a American exchange. Usually don't trade this, but this one today has some really good volume. It started trading well. It's a little choppy right now. Could be just consolidating in the pre-market, but the volume is definitely there. High of the pre-market 920. Above this, we have a possible gap, which can also be interesting, right? We have a gap. The bottom of this gap is 1032 in here. Above this, you have a possible around 1140 right in there. So possible gap that you might want to close in this area. That 1032 will be the next clean level. Towards the bottom, in case we want to sell off a bit and find some support, the top of the next level is right in here. This area here sitting at 809. And then in case we sell off from there, the next clean one I can see is right in this area, 737. And look, and you can see the pre-market is somewhat respecting these levels, right? It comes up, consolidates around 737, bypasses 809, although you see there's a stutter step around 809 here on the one, and then clearly hitting that 917 twice now, hitting it here one more time, and bouncing back off. So strong level at 917. If it can crack that, it can possibly get to this next level. There's a gap here that it might want to close. 1037. These guys got some good news today. They are doing an agreement with a Chinese company, so they got some good news that can possibly that's what they're gapping up 61% this morning. And there's a 40 million shares flow, so it's not a low flow. It's 48 million shares, so it's not low like 300,000 or anything like that. All right, what else do we have? JBGS. JBGS, I'm gonna drop it off. It does have 214,000 shares traded, but the pre-market action is not looking great. It's not creating a good pre-market action here. I can see some of the volume is being brought in from yesterday. I'm sorry, after hours yesterday on here. This here is not creating this 200 and something. This is a little bit less. So I'm gonna get rid of this one. Has a good daily chart. Could be something hits our scanners. Because it has a nice drop here, but just not a good pre-market action at the moment. Let's get rid of this one. Bank of America looks great. Look at the volume, 3.5, just tearing it up on the volume. I'm going to get rid of all these levels in here because, again, once the price action goes up and it consolidates, it creates all these highs and lows. So let's remove our levels. And let's add the low of the pre-market sitting at 29.12, 21.11, 29.11. And then you also have this clean level down here, 28.77. Several things happening here. These 2 days using it as resistance, and then you have support, support, support. You also have tons of moving averages in here as well. So that 28.77 could be a strong support area. Towards the top, you have previous day highs and lows, previous day close, all in here. So again, just don't add anymore. Don't make it more congested and complicated. Keep this nice and clean in here. So Bank of America looks good. Pre-market action, again, it's just so much volume right now. It's just creating a lot of chop. I mean, 3.5 million shares straight, a lot of volume. 1 minute looks clean, clearly bouncing off this 29.12. So for this one, just wait 10, 15 minutes for this one, because I know Bank of America be very, very choppy and is very highly traded by institutions. So you don't want to get caught in an area where the open does this, right? Just chops around and you're buying here thinking of a breakout, drops back down and getting stopped out constantly. KMDA, what do we have here? KMDA is just really selling off now. Not much going on here. It's trying to find a bottom. Not sure about this pre-market action. And the float on this one is KMDA. It's 31 million shares float, so it's not a low float. Let's find some levels. So we have 703 high of the pre-market. Let's see what else we have above that. It's been just selling off from there, so it hasn't really given us anything good to look at. Is that all-time high? Let's go back. Nope, it's not. So just zooming into this area here around 2017. So this is our high of the pre-market right now, 702. Above this, clear spike all the way up here, 862. So here's what happens when you don't have a clean daily chart. See, this is not a clean daily chart. It becomes difficult to find levels. I'm trying to find extremes of areas of support and resistance, and I can't find them as easy. You have here one of 733, where you have several days bouncing off that 733, and these days using it as support. And then you can also somewhat mark down this day here, where it spikes up to 785. Again, not the best levels, and this happens because you have this nasty daily chart. This is why foreign stocks are harder to find levels for, because that's what their entire chart looks like. Towards the bottom, you have your high of yesterday, and then we can also mark this spike over here at 642. So I think it has plenty of levels for this here now. Pre-market action seems to be dying down. It started off really nice here with some good volume. Now it's just dying down, selling off a bit. So I'm not sure if I'm going to watch this one for the open.
This one was halted just a little bit ago.
Oh, so it was. I missed that.
That might have something to do with that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It's just, it resumed. Who knows when? But yeah, it was halted. All right. So yeah, halted on the way down like this. It's not even a good, it's not good also. It's not a good sign for me, at least. I wanted, if it's halted this early in the game, I wanted to halt on the way up, not when it's consolidating. So again, just another reason to stay away from this one. Here we have now Facebook. Facebook looks pretty flat right now, so I'm just going to remove it. We can watch it later if it hits our scanners. So again, just pretty flat on the pre-market action. I'm just going to get rid of this one. CVS at the moment, again, has an interesting daily chart. Let's find some levels for it. I'm just going to remove this one's on here. High of the pre-market sitting at 54.94. Above this, what do we have? We have a possible right in here, this 55, 53. You have several days using this as support. And then here's, again, you have another situation where it's just chopping around, so no good clean levels. Obviously, this one up here, 57.31 is clean. I don't think we'll get up there. We can also mark down 56.17 from these 2 days here. Next moving average is now all the way into 58, all the way up here. So got a ways to go. Towards the bottom, previous day low here, moving average here. The moving average is right at the low of the pre-markets. We can mark that down, 54.40. And then previous day close, a moving average, another moving average coming in this area, and then highs and lows all down here. But for CVS, again, it doesn't have much volume now, but it has been trading very clean. So I still want to watch it because, again, NYSE stocks could open up like this and then start taking off. RBZ, I am not going to watch. Really selling off now, not really in play. And again, this one is, as we mentioned earlier, only 300,000 shares float. So even with this small volume, it almost has traded itself at least once just in the pre-market. So that's kind of scary. You don't want to be involved in that type of a stock. RWLK, see what we got going on here. So it started off really nice, selling off now, so not really doing anything exciting. RWLK, sorry, RWLK, 2.7, I'm sorry, 2.4 million shares float, so really low float. But again, it's just not holding any levels or moving averages. It's kind of curling down, might hit the low of the day. We'll get some levels for it in case it hits our high of day bull flag, if we can get back up there in our scanners. High of the pre-market sitting at 4.26. Above this, you have 461. You also got a moving average coming in here. And let me see if we can get one more. Yeah, actually, this is a good one right here. This is a perfect one. 501, clear support here, support again, and also this day here supporting that 501. Towards the bottom, you have plenty moving averages down. I'm sorry, levels down here. Previous day close and previous day low. I don't think you need to add anymore. But again, right now it's just looking very weak. So I'm probably going to remove it. But if it hits our scanners, I have my we have our levels ready to go. So we'll just get rid of this one here, RWLK. These are some possibles here. We have Netflix, Disney, not doing quite much right now. Johnson & Johnson, and JMIA, recent IPO. So I'm just going to have these on here just in case, you know, and any of these doesn't get the volume, we can check these out. Norm, anything you're watching on your end that you like this morning that we don't have on this list?
No, I mean, just what we've already discussed, and then I've got my normal NVIDIA. I mean, it looks like overall the semis might be active today. NVIDIA, Apple, I have, and Facebook. I'll keep an eye on those three.
Right, excellent. And we can check out one more IP. Go ahead.
MU looks interesting too. If you haven't looked at MU yet, it looks like it might be ready for breakout too.
Oh, I have not looked at MU. Let's see here.
You know, as usual, it doesn't have the best action this morning. Yeah, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, daily chart looks interesting. It's bouncing back here again after hitting this level twice. It's just getting back up here. How does AMD look? I haven't looked at AMD neither. AMD is kind of in the same situation.
Yeah, it's same boat.
Yeah, so I'm gonna possibly take a look at these as well. I'm gonna before 9:30, I'm gonna check my list again and see if something looks too crazy. For example, like United Health, I know this is too high price for me. I don't like trading stocks this high. So even though this looks great, this looks like it wants to break out here. So United Health has a really good daily chart. It's getting towards the high of the pre-market one more time. So let's see if we can crack this on here. It's got some decent volume. Volume starting to build a good pre-market action. So if this price range is within your criteria, definitely watch this one. But I might replace this one with like a MU or AMD just to have one of the of those stocks in my list today. IP hit the scanner. Yeah, somebody mentioned IP earlier. I was going to look at that before looking at MU. So IP hit the scanner, 132,000 shares traded. It has a crazy daily chart. This is very choppy. But if you look at the big picture, though, this is in a nice area, though. We got some good possible support here. It's down 5.7, so this is nice. Let's find some levels for it. Hopefully can get some volume. We do have shares for sure, so that's great. Low of the pre-market sitting at 44.37. Clean level right here at 43.77. Above this, what do we have in case we decide to go higher? See, this is a crazy daily chart, so it's hard to find very clean levels, but you possibly have one right in here. Several wicks, again, testing this 45.19, so this looks good.
Yeah. IP is very heavily institutionally traded.
It is.
And so that can make it difficult.
Yeah, and it could tell by the daily chart too. The daily chart doesn't look clean at all. I mean, it's down quite a bit today, but again, just not the cleanest daily chart. We have some levels on here, guys, if you're watching this, but the pre-market action needs to develop a little more. Doesn't really have a good, clean pre-market action right now. It looks like some news might just be breaking out, and the volume is starting to come in, but it really needs to get a little better. All right, guys. So I think this is my list so far. So just to recap, we have Roku on here. Roku is testing this 58.56, bouncing back to VWAP. United Health is breaking out right now, breaking out from that previous pre-market high. It looks strong. Again, it's got a great daily chart, has this beautiful drop, had earnings today, popping up nicely, so definitely watch that one. RNN is an American Exchange stock, so this one here, again, it's got some serious volume. Usually we don't see American Exchange stocks in our watch list, so just interesting to watch this one. Not a low flow, it's a 48 million shares float, so definitely keep track of that one. Bank of America, some serious volume, 3.8 million shares traded. So be very careful at the open. Wait for it, because this stock could be very choppy, but it's in play today for sure, and has a good daily chart down 1.7. Then KMDM, I'm going to get rid of this one, guys. It just doesn't look good. Again, it's just selling off, not a good pre-market action. And then last one, CVS, has a horrible pre-market action, but I do like the daily chart, can possibly be ready for a breakout. So if it gets the volume, it can get going. It is a NYSE stock, so usually the pre-market action is not as great. All right, guys, Andrew's going to come on and look at his watch list now. Take care, guys, on YouTube. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern time.
Take care, guys. Y'all have a nice day.